These sins are 7 vices that spur other sins and further immoral behavior. When we give in to one of these 7, they lead us towards committing other sins and many sinful habits and behaviors. Greed is the excessive pursuit of material things, the strong and selfish desire to have more of something, ruthless self-seeking, and an arrogant assumption that other things and other people exist for one's own benefit. An excessive desire to acquire or possess more than what one needs or deserves. Excessive attachment to money, material possessions, at the expense of other people, as well as at the expense of God's word. Basically, it's a love of things and doing whatever you can to gain those things and keeping those things to yourself. When you're greedy, it puts you in a position in which you'll do anything to have what you want, and you also have an issue with giving away things. You just want to accumulate things and you want more of those things. Basically, and you're like, you refuse to be satisfied by what you already have, so you want more, and you don't want other people to have what you have. That's in essence what greed is, and it's all about me. It's all about me gaining what I want. I don't care about anyone else, but as long as I get what I want and I can keep it to myself, then that's good. It pays no mind to anyone else. So basically, you'll do anything to get what you want, even if you have to trample over people, even if you have to destroy someone else's life, ruin someone else's life. As long as I have what I want, that is good. And it's all about self-interest, just like all the other sins. It's all about me, me, me. What I desire, what I want, I'm gonna get that, I'm gonna do that. And an example of greed in the Bible is Judas Iscariot. Judas Iscariot had somewhat of a love of money. He had greed for money that caused him to steal money and caused him to betray Jesus, which led to Jesus on the cross. Yes, that was supposed to happen, but do you understand what I mean? What you do has consequences, and it leads towards other things, and it can ruin someone else's life. So, in order to battle greed, if you feel like you're one of those people where I need to get more, and if someone is asking for something, I don't care about other people, but as long as I get what I want, that, then learn to give. Put yourself in a position where you can help other people with what you have, as well as be content with what you have. Be content with what you have and learn to give to other people instead of storing up what you have for yourself. Another example I can give is Ananias and his wife. Ananias and his wife, they sold off their property to kind of fundraise money for the church. And instead of giving all that money that they gained from selling their property, they decided to keep some of it. They decided to keep some of it for themselves and give the rest to the church. And they ended up dead because of that. So learn to give willingly. Learn to put yourself in a position where you are able to help other people with what you already have. So charity is important. It's an important step of combating greed. Another way to fight off greed is to read your word, because when you read your word, then you get to know God more, and when you get to know God more and you start to understand who you are in Christ, then you understand that with God you have everything that you need. And so when you know that you have God with you, you will not want to satisfy this longing of more. Sloth is excessive laziness and or the failure to act and utilize one's talents. Laziness or refusal to work and failure to do things that one should do. Lack of motivation from your inner man. Laziness, sluggishness, indolence, which is basically the avoidance of activity or any form of exertion. A person who is a sloth does not want to work and he avoids doing any work. And it's basically what we call procrastination. And it comes from disobedience. So that thing inside of you that tells you not to do something when you know that you should be doing it, that's being a sloth. And you being obedient to the person or the thing that gave you the instruction. And what keeps a lot of people in sloth, and what could be the possible reason for falling into the category of sloth, is fear. It's fear. I know that a lot of people who procrastinate because they fear not doing the right thing, or they fear that the results that they're going to get from doing that thing is not going to be what they want, and so they decide not to do it. A lot of us, we don't want to go into what God has asked us to do because we fear that people won't respond to us in the way that we want them to. We fear that we don't know how to use the talents that God has given us, or we fear being embarrassed, or we fear making a fool of ourselves. So we decide not to listen to God and do what He asked us to do, and that's disobedience, which is also a big no-no when it comes to God. So fear tends to be the root cause of it. It's not the main cause, but it's one cause of it. I think one way that you can also fight off being a sloth is to look at why exactly don't you want to do that thing. Why don't you want to use what you have in your hands? Why do you just want to lay around all day? That's one way, like one step towards understanding, how you can get out of it. Because once you can understand why you don't want to do something, why you just want to lazy around, then you can get a plan to, okay, this is why, so I'm praying against that, and I'm going to make sure that I'm doing anything that I can not to fall into that. And a lot of the times, people who become slothful, they then lose sight of their purpose, and this leads to them being idle. This leads to them towards being lazy and not doing anything. It's because they lost sight of the purpose. So it's fear and losing sight of your purpose. Those are one of the reasons as to why people fall into sloth. And an example of sloth in the Bible is found in the Israelites when they were in the desert, when they're standing in front of Canaan. When Moses sent out the 12 spies to go into Canaan to go check how it is, and people came back with different reports. 2 people came back with a positive report and the other 10 came back with a negative report, and people decided to go with the negative report. The Israelites decided not to act or do anything, even though God told them that country is theirs, even though that place is theirs. They decided not to act on it because they were scared of the people, and they thought that they were not going to succeed, even though God told them that they were going to succeed. So how can you fight off slothfulness? Pray to God to help you, pray to God to help you. And also, one way that can help you is to create a schedule so that it'll help you space things out and plan your activities, so that you know that at this time I should be doing this and I'm going to do it. Basically creating a routine for you to follow to get things done, and put yourself in situations that require you to work, or put yourself in situations that require you to contribute something, so that you don't become idle, you don't become lazy, you don't become stagnant. And basically ask God to develop inside of you discipline. Discipline is very, very necessary to get out of this. So pray to God, ask Him to help you, ask for discipline, create a schedule, and stick to that schedule. Wrath is strong hatred and strong anger towards another person. It's strong vengeful hatred and resentment. It's being mad at someone to the point where you want to take revenge. And wrath is basically when you become so consumed with rage, and you become so consumed with wanting to take revenge, that you end up acting irrationally and immorally. And it starts off little. It doesn't just start off with rage. It doesn't just start off with mad anger, but it starts off with just this tiny little thing. You start slightly being mad at someone, and you choose not to forgive that person, and you start to hold on to what they did to you, and you start holding grudges, and it builds on from there, leading towards a stronger anger that you end up not being able to control, and then you start to explode on people. And it's very, very important, guys, that we learn to forgive other people and let go of what it is that they did to us, because that is basically the seed of wrath. It's not letting go of the wrong that has been done to us. It's not letting go of what people did to us, and it's not forgiving people and just letting it go. So we need to learn to forgive other people. And that's how we can, battle off wrath. Also, learn to be patient with other people. Learn to be patient with other people and try to understand their needs and try to understand the desires of other people before you want to act out or speak out on something. So basically, when you're having a disagreement with someone else, don't just speak your own opinion, don't just act on what you feel, but learn to be patient and listen to that other person and hear their side of the story, and just talk it out. Don't just lash out at them, but just talk it out with them. Be very careful that you don't give in to any emotions of hatred and emotions of wanting to act out your anger, but instead try to respond in a rational manner as God commands. Like it says in the Bible somewhere that be slow to speak, slow to anger, and be quick to listen. So put yourself, just like remind yourself to just calm yourself down, listen to what the other person has to say, listen to their side of the story, and learn to forgive them as well. And don't hold anything against anyone. Don't hold your emotions in as well when someone makes you angry. But I'm not saying lash out at them as well. No. Like I explained, talk to them, get a conversation going, and get to, let them know what they did, how that affected you, how that ticked you off, how that made you mad, and talk it out. Talk it out. Ask for patience. Patience is very, very important here. Patience and forgiving someone else.